Are we really? Let's see. And there she is. Alright. It functioned. Yes, let's go. Okay. As the title and the thumbnail, in fact, shows, we are in fact going to have fun doing something really random. We're actually going to go review a bunch of properties here in the state of Oregon on Zillow. Live, because that's what a normal person does. It's great. We're going to review some properties for the hell of it. Just the hell of it. Yes, I actually prompted myself to want to do this because of the fact that ultimately, I was looking on here because, again, I'm always trying to visualize my future. And once I eventually have financial freedom and all that stuff, I'm going to move out on my own, obviously. I'm going to get my own place, build my own life. And I really would love nothing more. There you go. You could hear things. Good. Alright. Functional. Wonderful. Alright. Yes, I want to look at different potential places for me to move and live in within, and yes, so that is what we're going to do. Now, to start off, I'm just going to say this really quickly. If you are not watching this live, and you're obviously watching this as a VOD, if you tune in to watch this live, it's of course going to be a thing where effectively you will be able to watch it as a VOD later. So there you go. Anyway, this is not actually in Beaverton. This house right here is within that of Aloha. Aloha is what I consider my hometown. Picky people will say, it's not actually a town, so you can't claim it as your hometown. I say, fuck you, yes I can. And I will. And I always have. And I always will. But yes, the picky people say that because it's technically a CDP, census designated place, and an unincorporated community. But anyway, so it's in Aloha. Kinnaman, meaning it's pretty much within the realms of Bales Marketplace, though Bales went out of business, went out of, basically from there on Farmington to 198th, where Intel is, in Aloha. Aloha is a low-income community. Also, for the record, it is not only a low-income community, predominantly, upper-lower income, it is also, and always has been, it also currently all the way up the 185th corridor, in fact, to where I live, and further north through, like, Walker Road, that vicinity, into, therefore, Hillsborough and Beaverton territory of, like, effectively Tennisbourne region, is considered a high crime area now. To where, specifically, as in, and effectively, or officially rather, this year, 2022, it's officially considered a high crime area, meaning that car insurance has sharply increased as a result for the cost of it. I know this because, of course, I am pretty soon going to end up taking driver's ed courses so I can finally drive my goddamn car I finally got. 1989 Volvo 240 station wagon with virtually zero fucking room for a 6-foot-plus guy like myself. So there you go. I don't know what the hell happened there. What the heck? Why did this act like it stopped live streaming? YouTube's showing me it's still live streaming. That's not good. The heck was that for? Somebody kicked and said, nah, bro, you're not live streaming at all. Weird. I don't know what the hell happened there. Alright, anyway. Sure. So yeah, see, this is exactly why I use my phone. Exactly why I use my phone during these live streams. So I can actually verify that things are in fact working and not doing what YouTube's claiming. The fuck is, I have no idea. Anyway, fucking Google, man. What did I leave off on? Right, yeah. So I know that because I'm gonna, getting driver's courses. I finally have a 240. Tag expired, but once we get my, I guess it's now going to be my mechanic, not just my brother Mario's mechanic, Matt up from Eugene. He's going to end up coming up here. He's going to take a look at the car. He's going to do the full, typical rundown, run through diagnostics of the car. It is functional. It is fine, as you'd expect it to be. It's the Swedish tanks, but it's, it probably has an oil leak. There may be a couple of other issues, and it probably needs an engine tune-up. But other than that, it's functional and fine. So once that's dealt with, then of course you get the tags and everything else. But the point is, obviously, I'm going to have to get insurance on it. That insurance is going to now be spiked because of the fact that it's going to officially be titled under somebody who lives within a high crime area. So that's great. It's like the perfect fucking timing. Not only gas prices skyrocketing, right? But on top of that, like at the time I finally get a hold of the car and I'm gonna go through driver's ed courses, that's when gas prices are like, let's just hot air balloon ourselves into the stratosphere. And also, let's make sure your specific neighborhood is a high crime area so that insurance goes way up in price too. And in case you don't know, first-time drivers, they already have a higher price than the average driver on any and all insurance policies for their cars. So that's great. And then it increased even more because high crime corridor. Woo! I love it. Help me, God. Anyway, so you want a rundown of Aloha, Oregon, I can give it to you. Pretty much my entire life has been spent living in different parts of Aloha. Mainly South Aloha. 17 and a half years of my life growing up was in South Aloha. There's no official area called South Aloha, but what I consider South Aloha is south of Farmington Road, basically. And especially in between 185th and, I guess really 198th and 170th. For context. Anyway, there you go. But yeah, so grew up there. Now I'm living and have lived now for, this is the 4th straight year here in the far northern edge of Aloha. So I can give you a rundown of it pretty well. But yeah, and this is like heartland of Aloha. Well, I say heartland of Aloha. It's a little west of Heartland, but it's basically still right on knocking on the door of central Aloha. And this is not, obviously it's a high crime neighborhood. It's also, again, upper lower income dominantly. So charging $530,000, over $500,000 for a Aloha, Oregon house is already inexcusably, absurdly, out of your fucking mind crazy. On top of that, look at the property. Tiny house. Technically, I guess I can't say tiny house because technically that's a actual designation thing now for tiny homes. But you know what I mean. It's very small footprint. 1,134 square feet. That's nothing. That, in fact, literally, this apartment that I live in with my mom and have the whole time is 750 square feet. 750 square feet. This is just barely over that in space. This thing's minute. It's fucking tiny. Now, put into context something that's white guy maths. That's 250 plus 300 and... yeah, so it's basically 330, 300... or, sorry, 300 and... wait, am I doing math right? It is 250 to 1,000, so that would be 350 to 1,100 to 384. 384 more square feet than this apartment. That's it. For over $500,000. And you cram 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms into that tiny of square feet. This is a 1-bedroom apartment. 750 square feet. This is only 384 more square feet of a house. I didn't ask your fucking opinion, you stupid siren. Speaking of living in a shit quality place, you can hear everything. Neighbors too. And you cram 2 extra bedrooms and 1 extra bathroom into it. And you're still charging... what? And then, again, it's in a low-income neighborhood, and it's in a high-crime area. And look at the fucking yard. Look at the yard. I don't care if you updated the fucking house. That's inexcusable, dude. That is fucking inexcusable. What the fuck is wrong with you? And then, yeah, the audacity of Zillow to claim that it's in Bucktooth, Loserton. It's in fucking Aloha, okay? Get it right. Fuck you. Like, damn, dude. I can't get over that. That is absolutely obscene. Like, whoever the fuck is running Zillow's real estate arm in regards to actually buying and selling property is out of their fucking minds. There's no fucking excuse for that. Absolutely zero. Gresham. This is fucking nice. It's obviously in a very nice neighborhood in Gresham. So this probably isn't affected by all the crime that happens in Gresham. But Gresham is the butt of the fucking joke alongside Tigard and now Aloha for the Portland metro area. Aloha very recently. Other than that, it's always Gresham and Tigard are the butts of the joke of the entire Portland metro area. Because it's full of the druggies, it's full of the drug makers, meth houses, condemned houses. It's full of the fucking homeless. It's full of the mentally ill. And unfortunately, a lot of the homeless, not all of them obviously, but a lot of them, especially in those 2 places, are in fact also either mentally ill and or on drugs. Of course, they're easy to predate on. But, different topic. But the point is, they're full of that. But Gresham has an additional piece. It has gang activity, and a lot of gang activity, and we're talking more classic gang activity, and they've been trying to battle the hell out of getting that reputation away from themselves and get them out of there as best they possibly can. So Gresham, again, that's the reality of it. And every time they seem to finally gain a little bit of a toe and a foot in the door, I'm making progress to get the gang activity and get a lot of the drug activity and drug infestation out. The doors suddenly crush shut on their toes again, and they have to go in for reconstructive surgery on their toes for the upteenth millionth time because they come right back again. And especially the gangs. The gangs really have a strong ass hold in a large portion of Gresham. So this is really absurd that I mean, really. Basically $750,000. And again, it's clear that this is a very well-to-do, nice neighborhood in Gresham, so it probably doesn't experience the same thing as the bulk load of the rest of Gresham does. But still, bro, like, ugh, it's painful, man. But that is a beautiful property. Or house, I should say. I'm not gonna lie. But, yeah, and I mean, the square footage is insane. Size is good in terms of like the what do you call it you have there? It's ridiculous. And yes, I know you want to play Risk of Rain, Randall. Un momento. My buddy Randy just got me into Risk of Rain recently. Risk of Rain 2 specifically. It's a lot of fucking fun. It's completely mindless. but it's a fun-ass game. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even understand why it's so fun, but it is. But yeah, you're gonna be hard-pressed. Like, look at this, Carlton. Might as well be Cherry Grove. 1,680 square feet. You cram that much in there. 419,000. Carlton. What about Wilhelmina? Like, 320, 300. Ugh. This is most likely to be Wilhelmina, is this one right here. You're going to be hard-pressed to find anything under 500K. And even when you do, it's in places like McMinnville and Minville and further outward. But still within developed areas, and it's, I mean, the property's not that great. I mean, like 400K, okay, it's under. They had a price cut on the 11th of 10,000. This, I'm not going to lie, this is not that bad. There is immediately first thing I think of, though, is that roof looks like it probably is going to need replacing pretty soon. But then again, I know that's probably more frost on it, but I'd like to see it without that. But actually, this is a proper planned home, I guess. So it looks like part of a planned community, probably. It is a decent yard. So actually, maybe this isn't as bad as this. But look at how small it is. Look at that. What? You can see 3/4 of the whole house. Even from one angle. Like, and close in, too. That's tiny, dude. They do plenty of people pretty good, but like, it looks like it probably will use a repainting here within the next year. It's not too bad, though. That actually looks a little bowed, doesn't it? I don't know if it's forced perspective. That looks a little bit bowed like this. I wonder if it's a manufactured home. It actually, you know what? It is. It is a manufactured home because you can tell by. I was like, the cement. As soon as I saw the cement, that's why I thought about that. It's like, I'm pretty sure that's probably a manufactured home. And you look at it, like, then you look right here, how it's built into it, and then you look at the way the frames are. That's 100%, at least originally, a manufactured home. This probably what it was, is they probably took 2 manufactured homes or mobile homes, and they probably pieced them together, and they renovated them. That happens actually quite frequently, but also its shape fits actually a mobile home over a a mobile home, one that you put on like a flatbed trailer on an oversized load truck and move somewhere than anything else. Look at that, Jesus, that's sticking so far out from the wall. Oh, you can zoom into pictures on here. I didn't realize that. Why is that so far out from the wall? Is it? It's further out here too. Like, what the hell happened there? Like, that's real shoddy workmanship, I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of patchwork going on. They were pretty shoddy with their quality of craft there too. I do like the floor though. That floor is actually nice. They did a good job of color coding, and it's unlike most things to modern day. Like, it is darker like that, but it's somewhat a mix of the two, lighter and darker. But I mean, again, this gap. Why be that cheap about it? You could get a lot more value, and people are a lot more willing to pay more for it if you just fucking put more heart into your work. Like, instead of being like, we'll use what appears to be, for appearances, higher quality material, but we're just gonna kind of rush it closed. And like, not like leave gaps everywhere and stuff. Like, what is with this? I don't know if that's necessarily that the way it's cut, or even the foundations are uneven and settling. That would mean it's a bit bowed. So like, they didn't flatten a hill properly, or like, how is there so much unevenness in the spacing? Like, that actually bugs me a little bit. It's like, why is there such a gap? That just, again, seems like lazy craftsmanship. You can actually see, I think it's caulking something, maybe. Or it is just dirt, but it's just like, like, what? Jesus Christ. Look at that gap, dude! This one, there's actually a gap here. You can see this one's settled further than this one. So there's like this big like this is how it's set in there. It's like that's just shit craftsmanship again. Like what's happening over here? Is there just random points where it's shit settling? It may have been even like, especially if this is Zillow, right? It's a big corporation. It would have been more worth their while probably instead of just renovating it like this and leaving these settling pieces and gaps of the foundation to just rebuild the fucker. Tear out the original foundation and rebuild it. I don't think Yamhill County is remotely as picky as Washington County is. Washington County is one of the most picky counties in the state when it comes down to building things and rebuilding things and renovations and additions to property. They're so fucking picky. But Yamhill County, I doubt is. And obviously McMinnville is in the heart of Yamhill. So it's just like... What? It's nice looking, but look how narrow this is too. I could easily reach... My full wingspan could probably touch both walls, and I'd still probably have like the tips of my fingers at least like curled against the wall. That is such a tiny space. Like... There's a weird optical illusion it creates because of the colorations at the bottom of the cabinets and the walls. It looks like it's just like... It's not actually there. Like, it's transparent. It's a fictional countertop. That's actually a really cool effect. But you think about the depth of these counters? That's unnecessary, too. If you have this tiny of space, why take up this much with that much counter space? I guess for storage, but then at the same time, you can only really have one person functionally in that kitchen at a time. If you have a pet or a kid around, a toddler or something, that actually could be potentially dangerous with that little space. You have to think about everything that's taking up. Like this cutout that's sticking way out like that. This handle, that handle sticks out the furthest of it all. Like that's taking up that much more floor space. So effectively, you actually have, what is that, like probably 4 to 6 inches less space width-wise in reality. Probably more like 6 inches because this is sticking out a bit too. It's just not great. Like if this was a single person, okay, that could work. But again, if you have like kids or a fairly sized dog or something, or even a cat that likes to like rub on your feet, that's gonna be murder. Look how narrow that is. Jesus. Oh God, I would so smack my head on this going up and down. Oh God, I'd smack my head on that so many times. That is short as hell. Super tall stair, super short space. Why not make the stairs shorter? Yeah, it would make it steeper, but like, why not? Wait, what's going on over here? What the hell happened here? What? Why is there just this random cutout bulge? What is going on there? What? That's kind of cool. Yeah, make it not useless space, this wall, so make it into cupboards. Cupboards. Wait. This is that bathroom, I think that's the bathroom that you're in right here, isn't it? I think there's mold. Yep. And cobwebs, it looks like maybe. Yeah, there's a remnants of cobwebs. Messy house spiders. A type of spider that is not actually a spider. Hobo spider. Oh, the ones that you look at and they poof into a million pieces. So fragile. Oh, we get mold, which is not just a very northwestern thing. It's a, I mean, again, bathroom thing. In fact, all the more reason, why would you have plaster, wallpaper, and or wood in a bathroom? Like, especially since suburbia has been being built out since the 60s and 70s in this country, we've had, that's literally 50, 60 years plus, we've had to learn why you never use those materials in a bathroom. Why are we still using that? I don't get it. Like, this isn't rocket science, right? This is not something that requires you to get a degree in realty. This, oh my God. This is just common sense shit. You know what I mean? Like, you learn from your mistakes, or I guess most don't. They just choose to ignore the lessons they're supposed to be learning. They're like, yeah, but also no. That almost looks like they just put tape there. See, this is when you know that they fuck, like their craftsmanship is fucked, because they put the little inlay piece. It's not even wood. It's just like an overlay that has just enough to inlay as well. It catch itself in. Probably put some caulking down there, or just like some rubber cement, if that. Because they know they left a gap. Why leave the gap in the first place? Also, if it's like a rubber seal, because like, well, you know, insulation. These rubber seals do literally nothing because you have like 3/4 inch spaces and gaps in your door frames to the floors anyway. And the doors themselves, they're like a full inch off the ground. So it's like, what are you protecting against? Like, you could use that as an excuse, is my point, but that still isn't a valid excuse because it doesn't work. Also, these are bedrooms, but there's no lock mechanisms on the doors, which doesn't seem quite right. Like, why would you not have ability to lock doors? I swear to God, if this is a laundry room. It looks like another staircase. I think it's not a staircase. Okay. So like, my lobster has been activated. I don't get it. Like, what is... This is such a cross-up between, like, attempt at modern versus old school design. Like, this is almost a 40s style, because this looks like this is a staircase down to a basement or a cellar. So it's like they just decided to be either really cheap and lazy about it, or either that or they just couldn't fucking make up their damn minds what they wanted to do with it. They wanted to modernize it until a point. They got lazy with their modernization, so there's gaps everywhere. And then... What? I don't get it. But yeah, so the vaulted ceiling is kind of cool in a bedroom. I'm not going to lie. It gives you a little bit of a loft feeling. But even then, it makes it a lot harder to clean it. Keep it clean. So yeah, but another thing is this has a lock. I've never understood why basements have locks on their doors when it's only accessible from the inside. Now, if it's a cellar, it's more likely it has like a hatch door right to the outside somewhere. In this case, though, I'm pretty sure this is just it was probably originally a cellar because these cupboards are there. Although then again, I guess it's... We did actually already see those cupboards though, didn't we? Are those the same cupboards as these? They might be, yeah. Interesting. I can't tell if they actually are. I think... It'll look like there's another door over here. It doesn't actually look like that. But if those are the same, then I guess that's what that is. It looks like there could be a hinge right there, but why would that just be the only one? But yeah, look. See, here's the fucking gap thing again. Notice how the gap isn't here. But then it slowly starts, well, actually it is sort of, but it just slowly starts to increase, and then it gets really big over here. There's a gap in the actual paneling here and here. Like, look at the unevenness. In fact, actually, this looks like this goes further down, and this one goes further up. In fact, you can see a little bit of gap there that proves that. This is just shoddy craftsmanship. Like, why, and it's just laziness. Like, what's with that? Why do that? Like, look at how big these gaps are, then that one especially. God forbid you get carpenter ants in there. This is like the perfect place for them to just like home themselves in and go in and outside of your house. Just eat their way in and through. Is that just like a massive fucking like spider nest? It looks like spider egg sac remnant. Boy. Yeah, that's fun. See, these kind of gaps I hate because who's gonna fucking clean those? Like, almost nobody's gonna clean them, especially once you really establish yourself living in a place. You don't think to clean those spaces. And yeah, you could technically use them to store something, but then it's bound to be a place you're gonna forget that something's stored there. Because you're gonna forget that space is there, and then you'll notice it, but you'll just kind of gloss over it, because it's like, oh, well, whatever, it's always been there. But think about the amount of crap that accumulates in that kind of a space, especially that enclosed, but still open enough. And then also, this isn't actually debris. It looks like that could be a true like crack, which is not great. Look at the unevenness, by the way. What's with the asymmetry? Like, these are perfectly aligned with each other up top, but then this one's shorter on the bottom than that one, and then it just creates a step thing because this one's placed too high, but it's also placed either crooked or this door is hanging really low. Why? Oh, what's with the gap there too? Like, I don't get it. That's mold. That's absolutely mold again. All throughout the caulking on the window, there's mold, which means either people kept that window open too frequently, or when they shouldn't have, basically, or there's a leak, or there's another possibility, is that since this is clearly a laundry room, it doesn't appear there's a exhaust fan, which is why you absolutely need a exhaust fan in a laundry room. It creates a lot more humidity than you think it does, trust me. We have two tiny little humidity machines in our apartment, and it collects a stupid amount of humidity. Like, just cleaning dishes by hand collects a absurd amount of humidity. So, yeah. There's a decent amount of yard space, although a lot of it is cracked and falling apart pavement, which I do not like. I'd rather it be actual yard. But it's been absolutely decimated because, again, obviously people have been parking stuff there, which sucks. I guess if you like to hunt or fish in that way a lot, especially if you like to waterfowl hunt on foot, this is probably the perfect place for you. You love this type of a muddy area. Park your truck here, do your dirty work around here, over here, and then go inside via here. Probably like use this like a mud/laundry room. That's probably is the laundry room, and then like that's a perfect recipe. But yeah, and for, I mean, I guess for $409, that's not that bad. I've seen stupidly worse before on here than this for that price, but it's still pretty steep, especially considering where you are. And likely it is, if you're going to be a typical average age person, you're probably still going to be working a typical job, which means, or even a higher end job, but that probably means you're still commuting all the way to Portland. Maybe Salem if you're lucky, because it's closer, more of a straight shot, less traffic, but like that's not great. This is a beautiful property, that's for sure. I do really love how that looks. All that tree and greenery around. That is very well nice. Very well manicured. This is not a great place. That door's seen better days. It's definitely old. That's pretty freaking old, but it makes sense. It's in Milwaukee. Fremont and Portland, yeah. You tell they're older houses. Not that old, but they're older. Yeah. Lapine. It's like, oh, 295,000 in Lapine. That's nice, right? It's 672 square feet. Smaller than this apartment. I don't think so, Tim. I'm not paying $295,000 for a 672 square foot place. Not happening. There's studios. Studio apartments that are bigger than that. I'm good. Roseburg. Home of Umpqua Dairy. Already makes it a little bit better. Umpqua River, too. North Fork, technically. Yeah. Hermiston. You want to live for $500,000 out in Hermiston? Don't think most people would. Then again, get you away from the main city area, right? Hey, for all the supposed crazy liberals. Ugh. That's a entirely different can of worms to open someday. Anyway, allow me to go to this one, though. This is the one that especially prompted me to do this video. This is in Shady Cove. I actually really like Shady Cove. It's a really nice place to visit. It's probably wonderful to live in, I would imagine, except for the weather in the summer, because it's going to be blazing hot and sunny all the time. Wildfire prone. But I mean, the Rogue, look at that. God damn. You can't tame the Rogue River, man. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful place. I mean, look at the fucking rocks. Oh, God, it's beautiful. The Ponderosas, because you're already on the brink of high desert. And, like, off the bat, you can already tell, right as you get to this point, this house already looks like it needs a fair amount of work. But it still looks like it's a very valid flip, you know, to flip as a fixer-upper, right? It doesn't come with any land, though. Like, the land you get is very little. It's basically all you see here that doesn't have much tree on it. That's your land. It's not much land at all. It's a fair-sized yard, but it's not like great. But you can already tell it needs a lot of work, probably. The roof looks like it's been replaced recently, so it looks in great shape. The deck looks like it's definitely probably... It could last a few more years, but it probably should be replaced here pretty soon. It's not, you know, 100% guarantee. Wait until later. The siding definitely looks like it could use some updating or some replacement. I would say the siding is definitely the first thing I noticed, though. I was like, yeah, siding could probably use a replacement. For sure. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's the Northwest. Sure, well, of course it's going to happen sometimes. But yeah, this is basically just your property. There's a little bit of a road, I believe, down here. But basically, like you can see the person flying the drone. That's what you get for standing in the sun with a screen. You're not going to be able to see what you're looking at unless you, like, shade it with your head. But yeah, so basically this is your property. It is really nice. It's somewhat secluded. There is a house just over here, though, or I guess it's just across the river. And then there's this big park and a motel over here. So it's not as isolated as you probably like it to be. But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad property. But, like, off the bat, especially, again, in that other photo, you could tell the siding on this side of the house needs work. It needs a touch-up. The deck, again, there's just something about that look that, to me, looks like it's going to start bowing really bad here very soon. It's not what you want. Because once you do that, it's splintering all over you. That's not a fun time, my friend. Not a fun time at all. So, doors seen better days, but that's mainly the paint job on it. That siding again. It's interesting how the HVAC actually is tipped. I find that interesting. It's like lent kind of crookedly like this. But yeah, like here is an obvious visual where it's like, okay, yeah, that deck is not just bowing, it is actually starting to decay and fall apart. It proves that actually that deck does need to be replaced. That's another thing. The siding definitely seen better days. It could probably go ahead and leave it if you wanted to for, you know, like another maybe year and a half, 2 years, but it really probably should be replaced. You might as well get everything done in one foul swoop, I would think. This is where it gets to me, though. This is where it's like, okay, I have a lot to say about this. This house has not been updated in a long time, which you'll see over time. That isn't... That isn't actually the main problem, though. Look at the bottom of the walls where they meet the floor. That's where I'm like, this place is probably gonna host a handful of things I'm not gonna like looking at. That are gonna be like, okay, this house is actually a lot older than it seems. Well, then again, this thermostat says how old it is. Jeez, I didn't really pay enough attention to that. Yeah, that thermostat shows how old this house is. That's probably, again, mid-70s at latest. Thermostat. So this, yeah, this house has not been updated in a long time. But look at this. It's not only like the big gap there. There's a bunch of blackness there that makes me concerned that that's not just dirt, but that's mold. And especially in the Northwest, the last thing you want to see is mold. Because once it starts, it can proliferate like a mofo. But yeah, the gap is like, what's with that? And actually, now that I'm looking at it a little closer than I did before the first time around, it does look like the floor is bowing sort of at a slight arc like this, which could be concerning because it flattens out. It looks like maybe around here, but then it does look like there's an arc here too, and there's a bit more of a bow down there, which I didn't notice before. This actually almost reminds me of the Jenkins Estate wood floor. And the only time I had been inside the Jenkins Estate, one of the buildings, was actually when I was a really little kid, back in first grade. First or grade or kindergarten, actually. But yeah, so and if I'm 28 now, we go back to when I was 5, 20 plus years ago. And I still remember that cabin. I still remember that floor of the Jenkins Estate. And this reminds me a lot of it, except, of course, the Jenkins Estate is very well kept and maintained. Didn't have the bowing or anything like that. But you could still tell the age was pretty old of the wood floors. This arc is not a good thing either. But, like, this, at first, yeah, the first image is perfect for sales point. To get you to click on it and be like, this looks like an amazing property. 375, 5.3 bath, like 5 and 3, 2,700, almost 3,000 square feet. Right on the rogue? Are you kidding? Bro, this is amazing. Although you find out you do have a neighbor right next to you, which some people wouldn't mind. I think does kind of suck. I'd rather have enough privacy where there's like a fair layer of trees and shrubbery, between me and my neighbor, so I don't have to see their house. But it is what it is. But yeah, and then you can actually see there's a gap here too, but it has that same like blackishness to it that makes me concerned with mold. Actually, I just realized there's like fraying of like wood, almost like it looks like hay, which is interesting over here. But you can see like the bottom of the walls fraying too, and it's already like, okay, yeah, that's not good. So you slowly over time click through and you're like, this house needs, increasingly every time you flip through the pictures, like this needs more work than I thought before, and then it needs more and more, and basically by the time you hit like basically, yeah, the 10th, 11th, or 12th image, you're like, okay, I'm now prepared to see worse signs that this place may even need to be completely scrapped and rebuilt, because yeah, like this place hasn't really been cleaned obviously in a long time. Like whoever lived in this place, they left their stuff where it was for a long time and never moved it to clean it. To be fair, Shady Cove, so again, it probably may have been a retired person or couple. That would be understandable at that point, why they probably wouldn't necessarily want to do it. They probably didn't necessarily have anybody, like say family or something, who would be able to come down to help them move everything and do a cleaning, like say once a year. So that would be understandable and fair. Plus, most people don't want to make the time to put in all that effort to clean everything. But this is why you want to do it, man, because like it's everything. It collects that super thick, sticky, like dust and cobweb stuff, and it'll take you a stupid amount more work and effort than you would ever imagine to clean that properly away and off. And it's just not great. And if you don't do it and clean it off, then it deters people. And it turns you off, kind of like almost anybody would when they look at this place. It's like, I don't want to clean all of that. Like, couldn't you do the deep cleaning, or at least most of it, and then let us do the rest of the superficial cleaning after we move in? Like, I don't know. But yeah, and again, it's like, what's with the fraying? It's like it screams dry rot, which is a fungus. And once dry rot gets into wood, especially in walls and stuff, it's like, trust me from personal experience, it's almost impossible to get rid of it once it starts. If you let it proliferate enough, you're screwed. You're not going to get that out of your wood. That fungus just goes nuts. Dry rot is not a fun time. And it's mixed with mold. That means there's 2 different forms of fungus in the whole framework of this house. If that is the case. off topic, but I didn't know that Bosch made dishwashers until I saw this. Although, actually, that could be a trash compactor now that I think about it, but I don't think it is. But, yeah. Anyway, this is something that I thought was weird, is it's an isolated range, or isolated stovetop. I don't know what I did to do that. What the heck just happened? What? I bumped my mouse, but I didn't hit a button. That was weird. That was weird. Over here. Okay. Yeah, like, I don't think I've seen that before. I guess I have, but it just seems really weird to isolate your stove away from everything. Especially in the corner, because this isn't like, oh, you just exit through here. There's another entry exit to the kitchen over here. There isn't. That's literally in the corner of the kitchen by itself. You have your stove. It just doesn't seem conducive. I don't know why you would do that. It seems strange. Plus, now you're a little more restricted for room. Like, if you're frying bacon, you can't really get out of the way. So, I mean, Papa Roach gonna have to sing about some scars all over again, just a different form of them. When he's real hungry. Got the munchies. But yeah, see, like, there's a lot of dirt there, and obviously grime and that sticky dust, right? Cobwebs. But again, there's like that fraying in the gap, and there's a lot of blackness, which again screams mold. You have the traditional cracking over here, the seal between those two. That happens pretty quickly with time. Actually, it looks like there's some history of leaking around this too, which is not good. Again, if you have leaking in the Northwest, you better fucking get on top of that immediately, or else it's probably everywhere. Inside of, like, well, it depends on how long you've had it, but mold spreads fast in the Northwest. So, I mean, it could be all the way through all of this, or it could even be just, like, right through here. And either way, that's a complete tear out and then rebuild all over again, including in the walls here. It's not okay. Like, look at that, though. It looks like literally, like, the bottom half of the wall broke off and just fell. And it's just crumbled. Like, I don't know if it was plaster or if it was something else. There's multiple different kinds of forms of plaster, but yeah. This almost reminds me of old dance hall or dance house that used to be used for dancing or something like that, or Grange Hall. It has that era to it of look, especially in the wood floor, and then these ballasts and stuff. But railings, but I mean, you look at like where they're placed. That, I don't know what it is with the placement of the feet of them, but it really does make me think of a Grange Hall or something like that. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, it's just kind of interesting. So I could almost imagine in the scent and actually smell it myself right now, what it probably smells like. That actually looks like there's a slant to that too. Granted, if you are familiar with living in Oregon, I don't know if it's like this in other parts of the state, but I know here in the northwestern part of the state, right? And so the Portland area is absolutely included in that. Pretty much every property and every home you'll ever live in, including an apartment or anything else, you'll notice when you say cook eggs, everything slides to the northwest. And that's because everything naturally settles down towards the northwest. It's very likely it has to do with geology. And again, that we're 90% of the Portland metro area is built on top of a filled-in swamp / marshland, alongside river silt and volcanic silt. Which, if you know, yeah, you're going to settle for a lot more than you bargained for. Pun intended. It's not a smart thing to do that. And on massive floodplains. But, you know, human ingenuity or something, I guess. And intelligence, apparently. Now we want to build a subway. I bet that'll work out great, especially in an earthquake, wouldn't it? Oh, wait. No, it wouldn't. But okay. But yeah. Like, so, I don't know if this is slanting to the northwest or not. I don't think so, though. But it could be. Look, here you can clearly see in the carpeting, right along this edge, there's an actual edge you can follow. And that's because it's bowed up. over here towards the wall, this is higher than it is here. And it's a very uneven arc and bowing, which isn't great. This is just stained off color. But like you can follow the actual ridges. In fact, there's a ridge right here too. It's like a little rumple. Either that, or they just like crushed the carpet, rolled it up because they had extra, and then stuffed it underneath the wall, which could have happened too when they did it. It might actually be a flooring thing. But then again, you say that, and then what's with the paneling on the wall / wallpaper? And that's definitely paneling. Which again shows his age, by the way. But like, what's with the bowing out? It doesn't look like it's due to damage necessarily. In fact, because of this, it shows it's probably not damaged. But like, really? I guess it is wallpaper. It is wallpaper on paneling? I don't know, it's weird because you can actually see it. There's a dog ear up here. But yeah, like likely it is almost anybody's going to want to take all of this out. And they're probably going to want to replace the carpet. That's an obscure color carpet. It's not a bad color. Like, it functions, right? It does its job, but like at the same time, especially if somebody would more want to flip it, or you know, they want to live in it for a long time, they're going to want to customize it to make it feel right and or sell well. And this is not going to cut it. Like, unless you sell to a really rich grandma or grandpa, I don't think that's going to work. Just make sure if you do that, though, you have some well-placed doilies. It's very essential to the happiness of the grandma. And some crocheting or knitting supplies. Sorry, crocheting. Got to get it right. Oh yeah, look at that. That's not just where the door goes in. That looks like behind it there's probably a little bit of signs of starting of dry rot again. Severing of connection between the panel that's just glued to the wall and the actual countertop. It's, yeah, see, look, like, I wish I could zoom in on these pictures, but you can't. I can't. But see the crack? There's actually a genuine crack right there between the window corner and the corner of the wall here. There's a crack right here. These are actually cracks too. These are not cobwebs. Some of them probably are, but this is a crack. You can actually tell it's a crack. This is a really bad crack. Look at this crack. Like, not only it shows how old it is, but it shows that, especially around windows, that a lot of times can be a sign of water damage as well. And there's a little bit of mold, but this is also a bathroom. That's why you have the vanity. 'Cause you're so vain. Again, the wood floor's seen a lot better days. But look at, like... See, that looks dry rotted to me. I remember what dry rot was like all the time. I didn't have a door on my bedroom growing up for most of the time because it just kept falling off because of dry rot. Like, this is... I guarantee you that's dry rot. And that's also probably why there's so much unevenness in the panels. It is probably all throughout the wall. There's probably a bunch of dry rot. It's got a bad fungal infection. Needs to see a gynecologist. But yeah, wow. I don't know. I guess I have seen a heater, just haven't seen a heater like that in that color. Usually it's painted to be, or at least it's colored in plastic to be like the actual walls color, but that actually looks genuinely metal. But it otherwise keeps that same era. Kind of old looking. Does his job, why get rid of the design, I guess. There's storage up above the shower? I have seen that before, but it's very rare. That seems like a perfect place for mold to spawn, too. I don't... Like, that just seems like a flawed logic to have storage directly above your shower. Also, again, note no exhaust fans. So this is one of those things where you'd have to open your window here when you take like a hot shower or bath in the winter, because that's the main time you're going to take one. That's what you'd have to do, because like that's, oh boy, that's not a good thing to not have exhaust fans. The coloration, I want to say, is reminiscent of the 70s, but there's not enough proper, like, burnt oranges and yellows and greens, like off muck greens and army greens and stuff like that in here. It's, or browns. It's predominantly this, like, beige-ish or, like, peachy-ish colors along with this cream color. Which, yeah, that kind of can fit in the 70s too, but I feel like that kind of fits a little earlier. Like maybe 50s, I think, is where I feel like I see this color combo in houses the most. Which would probably fit the era of the floor. It'd be interesting. I don't... I'd have to look into more of the history in Shady Cove. But yeah, I don't see why there couldn't have. Like, obviously there would have been homes still there in the 50s and 40s, probably. But, interesting. Water. You actually have a legit hose tap, which is because, again, it shows how old it is. That it has a old school hose tap to go into the back of a washer machine. An actual tap. The last time I saw that was in our old house. So that's in South Aloha, so that's actually really interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. So it's, again, it guarantees it's at latest maybe 70s, probably. Maybe early 80s, but it'd probably be predominantly 70s that this, like the latest that this kind of stuff is, the integral stuff for the house is still there. Dryer vent. Not sure why there's that much extra cutout for it, though. That's also concerning. But, again, probably should have an exhaust fan. It's not as important as a bathroom, but it's still good to have those in laundry rooms. It's your loft. Not just separation, but cracks. There's another thing about this house. Why did they put industrial ceiling tiles instead of a proper ceiling in the house? It's almost like this used to be like an actual business or something before it became a house because of that. Like, it immediately makes me think of an antique and vintage shop that we have in downtown Hillsborough. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's basically it's in a really old theater from the early 1900s or 1800s is when it was built. And it's in that. Actually, I guarantee you this place probably smells like that. Because actually, now that I think about it, this is definitely that era. At least of the last time they updated that building. Because it has the same ceiling, industrial ceiling tiles all over the place. Same kind of gaps. Same exact arc in the ceiling. Same exact building style and shape and everything, actually. Same kind of doors. Same floor. About same wear. Actually, yeah. That's exactly what this is. That's the same era as that the really old theater is, historical theater that antique / vintage shop is in downtown Hillsborough. So this is, I'm gonna reassert. Yeah, I bet this is probably latest 50s. Actually, I bet this was probably the last renovated in the 50s properly. 1950s. But yeah, and obviously it's older than that. I'm sure this is older than 50s. Now that I'm thinking about it, it has a feel more maybe 20s. It's probably when this may have initially been built. And then obviously it's been updated periodically through the decades up until, I'd say the latest updates, mainly the kitchen, is probably 70s. It looks very 70s. But the rest of the house is very, yeah, I'd say 30s through 50s. You can tell that there was originally like a hatch here. There's a lot of these older places that have that. But, of course, because of these arcs, eventually under gravity and geology and, little like geologic activity you never feel or notice is happening all the time, over time in the Northwest and somewhere as geologically active as here. And it not only causes everything to settle, it causes a lot of cracks in like pavement, way more frequently in a lot of other places, sidewalks, foundations, and these older school, heavier duty, more quality built places, it will cause fractures and things that are built onto the actual super heavy beams and stuff like that because you know, age, wear and tear, and then of course gravity via geology. And so once one thing cracks like this, if you fill in and plaster something over like this, because there was a cutout there at one point, that cracks soonest. It's going to crack the worst, and then that crack causes a bunch of other cracks to form in the other edges. Like here's a big set of cracks. Just periodically, it kind of stops there. There's the last bit of cracking. This is about to buckle into a crack. Like, not great. That is being bowed up. That's seen a lot better days. It's like starting to crack a bit. Yeah. It feels like one giant cellar, basically, is what it feels like. Or one giant storm basement, or something like that. It's... Yeah, it's not the best feeling. It kind of makes you feel like you're preparing for a storm, and especially this upper level of the house. Like, let's go and shelter in place from this torrential downpour and severe windstorm / you know, supercell event. Like, it's what it feels like. We are back in Kansas again. But yeah, it's an interesting tree though. I like that. Just don't rest on your laurels. Terrible tree. It's probably more likely a sumac, but it doesn't look like either of those. A madrone maybe? It doesn't quite look like any of the... Just the growth pattern of the leaves and the branches. I don't know if it looks like any of those three. At least it wouldn't be one that I would think would be native necessarily to here, but it could still be. It's hard to say. That one is open. A single pane, I think these are as well. So like, you know how lobsters clean their homes? We need to clean this house. Oh, it's really bad. That needs to be replaced very badly. That's very rotted. Lest you want to, you know what it feels like to have your foot break through something when you step on it. And it gets stuck. And have ants everywhere. Because ants love that kind of stuff. All kinds of ants. Just don't update. Yeah, so this place, because of the cracks as well too, I feel like this place is not worth the $375, because if you include like how much money this house is going to take to update, because realistically, you probably should be tearing this house to its studs and then completely rebuilding it from its skeleton. If the studs and the frame is still in great repair and clearly can last a long time more. Which, back in that day, it probably would last a lot longer, unless, again, they let too much rot or mold get to things, then its integrity is probably shot. But, I don't feel like this kind of a home for this price, or even if it's cheaper, I don't feel like it's worth renovating. I feel like it's more worth rebuilding, because there's a lot of concerning things about it, and it needs an update throughout the entirety of it. There's definitely mold in certain places, which isn't great. There's a lot of cracks on the upper part near the ceiling, which is of course close to a roof, and that's not what you want in the Northwest, because that could be a bad sign. Let's just pretend the weather seal isn't peeling off either of the door. But like this, especially if you know, like to have your place air out in the summer and you're open, or you're going in and out a lot, you may not realize it, but you might end up with like a wasp or something that's going to get in there, especially in the autumn. They're going to find crevices like this. You might not even know they're in there, nesting away. Next thing you know, you're going to have nests inside of your fucking house. Nobody wants to deal with that, trust me. Nobody wants to deal with a wasp infestation or a carpenter ant infestation. This kind of a house screams both of those things. It definitely has dry rot issues too. I just feel like this is a lot more conducive if you took this house and rebuilt it. I'm not saying literally get rid of its foundations and its beams and studs. Definitely keep the frame, keep the studs, keep the foundation if its integrity is well within, you know, a good decade plus, at least, to be able to last before it needs repairs or updates. Or rebuild around it. You can reclaim the wood if you really want to like have certain things where it's like you want historical integrity to keep some of that historical preservation. You can keep a lot of the wood from the floors. I'm sure a lot of it, especially more in the centers, are fine. And even if you couldn't use it at flooring because maybe it's bowed or something, you could use it in a lot of different ways. Like, there's no reason why you couldn't do that. To keep some sort of integrity, or some sort of at least memory of what was originally used, and use it in a certain way. Actually, this is the picture I was thinking of. That was the most concerning. Look at the ceiling tiles. Not only cheap and archaic, but look at how bowed they are. And if you see this kind of discoloration and this kind of bowing, especially near edges, in something like this, that's a sure sign of a bad leak. A very bad leak. Like, there was a lot of moisture that got in that at some point. And there's a lot of leaking going on. That's a really bad thing. So, all the more reason why you'd want to rebuild this if you were smart. And for that to happen, I don't think you'd want to charge somebody $375,000 for the house when they're going to probably spend relatively close to that much to rebuild it. Actually, that would be more to renovate it fully to a very modernized state. If they were to actually properly rebuild it, you'd probably be spending guaranteed, I just about bet, especially in today's economy, well more than $375,000. They probably, even if they're really frugal, they have their networking, they know where to go. They're still probably spending at least $400,000 to rebuild it. I'm guarantee you they're going to spend more than that though. They're probably going to spend at least $500K to $750K to rebuild the whole thing. And then at that point, they've spent on average about $1 million on the property, and guaranteed at that point, if they completely rebuild it and did it well, and future-proofed yet just also attached trendy enough, or aesthetically pleasing enough inside and out, right, and modernized enough, then they easily could get more than $1 million for this, especially where it's located. There's no doubt in my mind they get more than that, so they'd still make a profit off of it. But in the grand scheme, it wouldn't be all that much. Like, they might be able to make probably around at max somewhere between $375 and $500K at most in profit. That's pretty good. But if you're gonna be completely rebuilding a house and then flipping it, and you're spending over $1 million or just over $1 million for that, that ain't right, man. That's inexcusable. Like, that's terrible. Then again, I don't know. There's the contractor that got our old house in Aloha completely redid that, had to tear it down to the studs, made it his own to live in. Which again, if you're gonna rebuild something, more than likely that person's gonna want to live in it at that point. If they're spending that much money on it, you're rather gonna want to live in it than flip it. Even if you could make $500,000 in profit, you're still gonna be like, I'd rather live in that thing. Sorry, I'm not putting that much time and effort and money into this property. I'm making it for myself, thanks. It's at that point you're making it an actual investment into your own future and yourself and stability, and that makes perfect sense. That absolutely you would do that. But again, that's a lot of money to put into something like this without much property. Yes, you have direct access to the fucking rogue, and it's really nice and it's somewhat private. It's not too far from Medford Rogue International, which is great because you still can commute directly to PDX if you need an actual main flight, or even San Jose. I believe there's flights to Sacramento and SFO out of Medford. You could do that if you really wanted to. You have direct access to, wintertime amazement and trips both in summer and winter to Mazama, aka Crater Lake. You're very close proximity to that. You're very close proximity to the Medford, Ashland area. So you have all the amenities you want within relatively short driving time and distance. You do have a lot of benefits to it. You're not too far from, say, the coast. You're not too far from the Oregon caves. You're not too far from the Sea Lion caves. You're not too far from the vortex, from the lava tubes, High Desert Museum, Painted Hills. Like, realistically, you're not that far. You're not even that far from Mount Hood, let alone Bachelor, and the Three Sisters, McLaughlin, Lake of the Woods. Like, there's a lot of beauty and wonderful stuff you have right nearby you that all with, other than the coast, like probably a maximum of like an hour or less to go to get your shit done and come back and live a relaxed life here in relative solitude and privacy and quietness and beauty. Kind of semi, like, pseudo country living, but you're not really. But, you know, it gives the illusion, and it's more than enough to feel like it. And if you make that place your own and you have access to that kind of stuff within that proximity, you have that kind of money to do that, then you have that kind of money to also fly to, say, PDX or, you know, San Jose from a little regional airport they call International Airport in Medford, you know, but, like, you do have a lot of... It is, I guess, a sensible thing at that point. But that, again, would only really argue that, yeah, you're going to rebuild it for yourself. You're not going to try to rebuild it to flip it, even again if you got like $500,000. At that point, it just isn't justifiable. So, yeah. It's a really nice property. I would wish there was more land on it, but also, yeah, you'd have to completely rebuild it. It's absolutely freaking absurd. But yeah, obviously the main places I keep looking at are more outside of any of the major lived-in areas because that's where I'd rather live. That's where I'd want to be. Wonder if this is still considered Shady Cove. Nope, it is in fact Eagle Point. This is closer to Table Rock. You can tell by the landscape. It's an A-frame. Very small though. It's good for one person, or two if you don't need or like that or want that much space. Fair amount of land, not much in the grand scheme, but it's a fair amount. Looks like you have your lone little oak grove, which isn't bad. Obviously you have your garden plots, raised beds, which is cool. This is very pretty. Lot of, yeah, you can tell it's autumn or winter that was taken. Or actually, it could be the spring. Not the highest quality photos. It's pretty. Oh yeah, see, that oak, that was a proper old gnarled oak. Which came first, the oak or the house? Obviously the oak. I wonder when they did that. This one had to have been recently. But I wonder if they did that before or after the house was built. I want to say after, but I don't know. It's a good question. It's nice, but it's unfortunate that they did that to that poor old gnarled oak. It's not a bad looking place. I like that. That would be fun and great to walk, wouldn't it? Oh, I would love walking that. That would be a good walk. Get your walk in every day, whether you have a dog or a cat or a chicken on the leash. Or a chinchilla. Or yourself on a leash. Honestly, some of us need that. I definitely probably do need a leash on myself at all times. And a choke chain, probably. Because I still would be stupid enough probably to keep doing what I'm doing that I'm trying to keep myself from doing. Anyway, okay, so there's a lot more land to this than I thought, because you actually have a little outbuilding. Fenced in area, so like you can have goats. Or sheep. Definitely not hearses or cows. Cows would way too easily probably knock those fences down. I do not believe any cows limber enough to jump or climb over that. I'd be kind of surprised if they were. Hearses, definitely. Hearses are going to have a fun time just casually, daintily stepping over with a graceful gallop and a whinny to boot. It's so pretty. Like, think about that. That is beautiful. Woohoo! Imagine that in autumn. Or actually, hell, even in spring when they first get fully leafed up in green. Oh, that's pretty. Ooh. Now imagine like pumpkins or apples or something like that in the spring. Or cherries in the spring, the blossoms and everything. God, that'd be so pretty. So pretty! And I'm not a high desert guy, but like, that's fucking pretty. I like that. It's just a naturally relaxing thing. Like, going underneath the grove of oaks like this, almost like a tunnel. That's nice. That's really nice. Looks like there's another outbuilding. I assume it's still within the property boundary. There's more land to this than I thought there was. This is fucking nice. I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah, obviously the fences are probably gonna need to be replaced pretty soon, but like, damn, that's nice. That's real nice. Okay, so this is not an oak. I am not an oak. This is a pine. How about little tufts? So this is affected by something. Probably again. I want to say a bark beetle, but I don't see any signs of bark beetles on that. Some other kind of a bug, I assume. I doubt it's a disease that's plaguing it. That's not good. But this is clearly oaks. You can tell. This is a oaks. Got him. Yeah. It's a nice property. Like, imagine just, like, laying down here, especially in the summer, underneath the shade. Just laying right here. Letting, like, a cooling breeze flash over you. Oh, dude. Fuck, that would be amazing, dude. Or even, hell, in the summer, or, I mean, spring. Like, it's, like, 60, 70 degrees, but you have, like, a slightly cooler breeze. Perfection. Oh, my God, that would be amazing. Gotta let the lay on that. I almost said live on that. I guess technically you would be living on it. That's the A-frame. I'm assuming this is the property line. Like, this dugout symbolizes it too. So this is probably the I don't think it goes this far. So this is probably the property line right here, I imagine. Is this part of the property? Probably. So it probably goes like this, I assume. Or actually, no, probably more like that. I think that's a part of this property, but I'm not sure. It could actually just be this. Which would suck, because then that's actually a very minute amount of land. I would love for it to be this, at least, if not literally this. Like down through here. That would be cool. That's obviously not it, but you know. That would be awesome. But yeah. No, I guess it does include this piece. Okay, perfect. I thought so, but I wasn't sure. Oh yeah, see, that's the fenced-in area. That's the livestock building. That's nice. I love this hill in the background. It's like perfectly placed. Oh, that's nice. So I'm assuming this is actually the true plot of land. It's literally this whole thing right here. I really don't think it's this. So it's probably like that. But I'm not 100% sure. Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah. So it's not including that. I'm still not sure about that, but I'm pretty sure it's not including that. So it's probably like, yeah, I think this is part of the property too. So it's probably like this. That's still a fair piece of land, man. I like that. Hello there. What up? I'm assuming that's the Rouge, as I would accidentally spell it, because I'm totally not dyslexic. It's actually not a building, it's just covered, but that's okay. Who needs to know? It's a nice property. Yeah, so it does include all the way over here, too. This is definitely another house, so that cannot be included. Yeah. It's interesting looking at the angles of these pictures, though, because see, now, this makes all three of those buildings look way closer than they did in any of these. Like, they still look relatively close, but then... Like... What? That is so interesting how perspective can completely just, like, play you for a fiddle. It's ridiculous. That is a nice-ass property, I'm not gonna lie. I like that. For that price, it's still probably not too bad. There's not really... If you don't want to get rid of the actual nice outdoor space, then you're not going to want to build another, you know, house on the property, even as a guest house. So then at that point, you'd pretty much just stick with this. And then I would have to say that part sucks because it's still so small, in my opinion. Like, for me personally, even if I'm living by myself, that's really small. I would feel kind of sad about that. If I lived in something like that. But yeah. For the winter, Central Oregon, especially around Mount Bachelor, would be amazing. I love Sun River. I always have. I always will. But in the summer, it would be lethal for me because it would be way too fucking sunny and hot. I would not be okay with that. Oh, Jesus Christ. You're... Really? Why? Oak Ridge. What? Doesn't look like Oak Ridge. Looks too far out. Far out for that, puppers. You think I didn't see him there? Look up instead of lock up. Ha ha ha. Alright, get in pop up. We're putting this place on pop up. It's pop up time. That's a nice place though. Boss baby, but it did not look like it at first. That looked like a picture that was reflected in the window, and it did not look that docile before. It looked a lot more disturbing. That's funny. Oops. Oh, you're one of those people that have two different TVs in the same room. That's not distracting at all. That's a computer, but that's a third TV. Ooh. Rodent. What kind of rodent do you have? I must know what kind of rodent. Actually, no, there's a heat lamp, so it's not a rodent, it's a reptile. There's like nothing there for him, though. It's probably a turtle. Probably a turtle. A turtle. All my children have paws. And you drive a false Jeep. Nice. When the Jeep is false. Jeep. You wrecked yourself, an old Explorer. So small. There's like no property with it either, which is really unfortunate. I mean, look at how far out that is. Far out! And yet. Prospect, but it's just a piece of land. How would you like to live in clear-cut territory? Yeah, I wouldn't either. Butte Falls. Butty Falls. 1,900 square feet. It looks nice, though. It looks nice, John. Ooh! Well, hello there, friend. How are you hiding? It's beautiful. 3,200 square feet. It does come with an outbuild or a guest building. So, yeah, wow. That's already worth it. It's cabin style. It probably has an HOA, though, which would fucking suck. But... So, that's McLaughlin. I'm pretty sure that's Mount McLaughlin. This is a cinder cone. You can tell because of its dip. 57 pictures. Holy shit. I wonder if this is not supposed to be actually be properly lived in consistently, though. Because this looks like this is more of like a... oh, what do you call it? Fuck me sideways and call me Larry. Why do you have to still echo? I know there's nothing there, but I need to access something. What was I trying to say? Timeshare. There you go. That's actually almost as tall as Mount McLaughlin. I mean, yes, it's Mount You know, McLaughlin's head is in the clouds, but as it should be. But yeah, so Lake of the Woods is on the other side of that Mount McLaughlin. Effectively, I don't know what this is. It's prominent enough and it's big enough. You feel like that should be a labeled peak or mountain, but I haven't seen it labeled or named. So that's interesting. It's definitely McLaughlin though. McLaughlin. Yeah. I love this. I'm sorry. Why am I saying I'm sorry? I'm not sorry. I love it. Unapologetically, I love it. It's nice. I want to see the entrails of it, though. I want to see how compacted they made it. It's 4-3, but that probably includes the guest house off-site. This is so nice. Ugh, I love the vibes of that. Like, dude, even in the summer when I'm just sweating and losing my fucking mind over how blazingly overheated I am, I would blissfully go into a heat stroke with a smile on my face, miserable yet happy, just laying back, kicking back on like a lounge chair, like right here, or like right there. Or like right here, actually in this corner would be perfect, and just like gaze up at the A-frame itself, kind of look out sometimes, just like, this is bliss. Oh my god, this is amazing. God, I love it. This is so beautiful. But yeah, as I was trying to say before, though, HOA. I'm willing to put this as an HOA. And that would fucking suck, because I fucking hate HOAs. Yeah, okay, they can sometimes do some good. Great. But the rules are a no-go of HOAs for me. I fucking hate following other people's standards. Like, they can go fuck themselves. That's why I hate HOAs. Is literally, my attitude is, you can go fuck yourself. I'm not following anything you expect me to. This is my home. I bought it. This is my property. I bought it. I get to do whatever the fuck I want on it and with it. And you cannot tell me I can't. Just because you are an HOA and I'm inside of it doesn't mean shit. Go fuck yourself. That's my attitude towards that. And it will never not be. Like, I'm gonna fucking do what I want with my fucking home and my property. And you can fucking suck my tiny man tits. I don't care. Be mad all you want. It's not going to change what I'm going to live how I want. And of course, HOAs get very vindictive usually if you are that attitude, which I think is stupid because it's like, what's the point of paying for your own home if you can't do whatever the fuck you want in and with your own home and property? Like, really. Then there's no point in buying your own property because it's not really your property anymore. And HOA forces you to say, well, it's actually our property. It's your property because it's within your eyesight, an eye line, but it's my property in all other ways. But I have to give just as much credit and creed to you in your eye line as I do otherwise, because you're more worried about fucking aesthetics and keeping up appearances than anything else, because you're fucking vain. Like, come on, bro. Inadvertent rant, but there you go. This is fucking gorgeous, though. It's so beautiful. And of course, because it's in this kind of community, this thing is really well kept. Like, you can tell they maintain this thing, they clean it meticulously, they keep it just, you know, perfectly healthy and maintained. And plus, when it's a genuine cabin like this, right? I mean, it's not really a genuine cabin, everything would be true logs, but still, it's way higher quality build and construction than literally any other typical house you will ever buy. By far. To where even if you kind of did beat the shit out of it and you didn't really, you know, treat it with a lot of love and respect and keep it really well maintained and cleaned, it would still be fine for probably 100 years without having any kind of structural issues. So, like, unless you try to use it as a pure steam room and never update the seals or anything, then, yeah, okay, yeah, it's going to degrade it really quick. But you get the idea. Like, this is fucking phenomenal, dude. This is so fucking cool. So this is the kind of a place that you can buy and never worry about structural integrity issues. Like, everything is in perfect repair. It's super good health. There's nothing in disrepair. Everything's so heavy duty, so sturdy, so well made. Ugh. How can you not love a place like this? Like, it's so earthen. It's so earthy. It's so... Ugh. I love it. It's like, it's almost like literally you could expect to wake up every morning and have a bear or a, go outside, take a big deep breath of air, and then your neighbor, the big old brown bear, comes in, gives you a big old hug, and then next thing you know, every other morning that he's not there, then there's a cougar that sticks her head through your window, and you give her a big old kiss and hug and a scratch behind the ear. It's like, I love it. Maybe you have some wolves that are very happy around you. It's like, that's the kind of vibe this place gives. It's just such an earthen... everything about it's earthy, and I love that so much. It's so good. It's so pure. So pretty, so cozy, so comfortable. It's so warm and inviting and happy, just elated and relaxing and calming. It's like Zen. It's everything you want it to be. Like, look at this, dude. I love it. I love this kind of loft feel too with the A-frame and the upper level. Yeah, I would have my bedroom up here. Absolutely. I'd also have an office up here. I'd have a meditation / like relaxation den on the upstairs because of the A-frame. It just adds so much, and with these poles and these little nooks, it's like, it's so cozy, warm, and it feels like you're getting the warmest, most cuddly, cozy, soft, fuzzy hug. It's like, oh God, I love it. 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 And it's like the perfect use of space too. Like, you look at all this, it's the perfect use of space. In architecture and construction, like, there is a lot of wasted airspace, sure, but that's the beauty of these kind of constructions, and especially in high desert like this, it could not fit more beautifully and perfectly. It absolutely could not. It is so phenomenal. Like, this alone, with this A-frame area and the TV where it is, this reminds me so much of 2003. Winter of 2003 was the last time, and the second time only, I had ever been to Sun River, to Central Oregon in my life. And it was for a winter vacation. Obviously, it was 9. So, 19 years ago. It was in Sun River, but there was a house there in town that we rented, that we stayed within. This reminds me of that living room of that house. Even though it was a typical modern kind of semi-townhouse type construction, it reminds me of this. It had this kind of vault / A-frame type ceiling. It had this kind of feel. Like, the person who lived in it, the furniture they put in there, the trinkets and everything they put in there, the decor, was very much filled it to have this exact, almost, well, not exact, but very close to this very feeling. And this is bringing it back again. And they had the TV right up in the corner in the living room, right there, just like that. Of course, it was a CR, or I guess it was a flat screen, not a flat panel. It was a flat screen TV. It was 2003, right? But it was nice. It may have still been a CRT flat panel, but yeah, it's nice, man. I was like, I could fucking live in this place. As small as it is, even back then when I was a little kid, I'm like, it still feels kind of small. But it's like, I could live in this place because it's so well done. It's so cozy. It has the right vibes. There's something about this airiness, yet closed-in coziness of warmth. Like, it has the perfect combination of balance of closed-in, cozy, embracing, and you know, yeah, it's smallish, but in the right, warm, embracing ways. while also being airy and open. It's like the perfect combination. You get the comfort of the coziness and the close nature of it, while also getting the freedom and the breath of fresh airness, kind of second wind like type of thing, or energizing type of thing, and motivating, elating type of feeling that you get from the openness of the open air above you. It's such a good feeling, and it has this kind of a break in it because it was flat. Because obviously you had a bedroom up there too, and a bathroom, but it was only one half of the upper half of that house in Sun River. So like this reminds me so much of that, and the TV was up on top of, I think, a cupboard or something like this as well, in Sun River. So like this is, I'm not gonna lie, like this is everything I'd want in like a cabin, in a house. This is everything I'd want. The vibe, absolutely everything about the vibration of the entire property and house is impeccable. The land area is perfect. The decor is perfect. The health and the integrity and the love and care put into the place and maintaining it is perfect. The colors are perfect. Everything is perfect. The only thing I could ever launch a complaint about is there's not enough land. Like, my own land for the property that it's on. And neighbors are a little closer than I'd like them to be. And a little more within island than I like them to be. Other than that, it's perfect, man. This could not be better. Like, everything else is literal perfection to me. It checks every fucking possible box it could. For me personally. And the price is not bad, man. Like, you cannot complain about that price. Like, normally you would. It's like $900K. Only $100K off of $1 million. And you get no land. Yeah, okay. That's fair. But if it checks all your boxes and it makes your soul sing, your heart sing, that fucking warm, fuzzy, happy, joyous, energized, thrilled, elated, it's like this is where my heart and my soul, my very being are vibrating with and saying this is what I need and this is what I want. And then you have this kind of scenery and this kind of accessibility where you can just literally walk. You could backpack in less than a half a day, probably, if you get experienced enough and your body's used to it enough, to Mount McLaughlin. A legit fucking mountain. Like, are you kidding? And then within a day, you could backpack to far or less. You could backpack literally to Lake of the Woods if you wanted to. Which there's no real reason to, because it's a park and you'd have to pay to camp there or use one of their cabins, but you already live close by. But you could do it if you wanted to. Camp there, go fishing, go out on a boat, whatever it is you want to do, swim there for a bit, then walk back home. You don't have to drive. Like, think about that, dude. That is awesome. Like, bro, that is so cool. And you're still within a relatively close drive to Ashland, Medford area. You're still within a relatively close drive, therefore, to none other than Rogue River. You're still within a really close drive to that thing right there on your screen, Mount Mazama, Crater Lake. You're right within a short drive to Klamath Falls and Altamont and, where Klamath Lake is, Upper Klamath Lake is. Hell, you're really close to Mount Bachelor if you wanted to go skiing there. Diamond Lake. Like, Belknap. Like, you're really close. They're not that far of a drive, right? If you wanted to go down to California, I don't know why you would, but if you're one of those people, you could go to Mount Shasta. You could go down to either California or Nevada side to Tahoe. You're actually a really relatively short and quick drive to any of those places. Even to Reno, actually, which is interesting to think about it. Reno Sparks. But yeah, it's like, you're actually in a pretty nice place, man. Especially if you like to go to more of these places. Like, you want the access to civilization, quote unquote. For your amenities and your groceries and your all that, your maintenance or whatever else. But you're also really, you're really, Like, there's a way more positives and arguments for than against paying that price for this kind of a place. Another one. Every one of the rooms in this place are, like, perfectly sized. They're not too big to where there's any wasted space, and they're not too small to where you'll feel cramped. And, like, they put too much into one building. This is literally the perfect layout. Like, everything is the perfect amount of space. Every room is the perfect size. That's all the more positive argument for it. Like, this is rare in any construction to have the perfect size rooms of every kind throughout the building, where they didn't do too much or too little. I will say, though, one complaint: a gas fireplace. The fuck is wrong with you? Like, the one thing, you had one job. You're living out in this kind of a place, in a cabin. How the fuck do you fuck that up and put a gas fireplace instead of a real wood fireplace? Or even a wood stove? How the fuck do you do that? Seriously. You gotta be fucked up. You gotta be out of your damn mind. Clearly, there used to be an actual wood stove here. This inlay seems to indicate that. But on top of that, look. This was a vent for a wood stove. They replaced the wood stove with a gas fireplace. And a horrible looking one at that. It looks like a fucking dog kennel. What is this shit? You had one job. And you fucked it up. Like, the one thing you fucked up was this. You should have left the fucking wood stove, man. Or replace it with a new one, I guess, if it didn't look right. And you didn't want to bother trying to make it look better. Okay. Get another one. Like, wood stove or real wood fireplace. Those are your two choices. Gas fireplace is never okay, especially in a cabin in this kind of environment. Like, why? I don't care if it's modernist. Why would you do that? Everything else is perfect, though. Like I said. So I guess there's... Technically, if I had to, there is two things I could complain about. That would be the second one. I don't know why the fuck you would do that to yourself. Like, that is the dumbest thing. But, okay. Sure. Moose munch. Truffles. And some sort of alcohol. And an oil lamp. You don't think they're possibly trying to go for an aesthetic, are they? No chance. Definitely not. Never. What? No. Please. We sweep these facts under the rug. Yeah, that's as shit as it gets. Like, look at that. That is so dumb looking. Also, if you get a proper wood stove, it's not just going to heat the room that it's in. It's going to heat everything in your house really well. It does a really good job, especially if you have proper insulation. It will make its way down through stairs or vents, and it will heat the fuck out of your place. It'll be super efficient. Wood stoves are no joke. There's a reason why in these kind of environments, actually, in these kind of homes, they are still really popular for proper people who really want to actually have the true lifestyle of that. They're very reliable. Plus, survival situation, you're in your home. Survival situation. You can't access food, you don't have any utilities, you lost electricity, everything. You need a fire to keep warm in the winter. What the fuck do you think you're going to do when you don't have electricity? And you took out your one wood-burning fireplace, in this case a wood stove, and replaced it with an electric gas heater. You're a moron. And also, your electrical heating is not going to work. There's no electricity. This is the kind of thing you really should think about, especially if you're going to build your own place, or you're going to renovate somewhere that you're going to live in. You want to consider these things. Yeah. Anyway, even this is like the perfect amount of space for a half bath like this. So, this place, bro, I want it so bad. New dream home. And this one is on sale. So there you go. How long has it been here is the question. Usually it says how long, so I guess I'll click off to see. Where did it go? Oh. I clicked on it, I guess. Where was it? Where the hell was it? It was, I think, this one then. No. Wait, no. Yeah, it was here. It was here. Doesn't say. Hello? Okay. Just show me. 6 days. How many saves does it have again? They do actually usually say, but for some reason this one is just not behaving. 983 views in 6 days, 38 saves. That's actually not that many. Actually, I'm surprised. That's about average for what I've seen. It's on a 1 acre lot. Give you perspective. 1 acre is basically nothing. An average person can walk end to end if it's squared. It's a square lot, right? One person, any average person, could easily walk end to end of a full acre. Not a hectare, but an acre. So an imperial acre, I guess. On average, you can walk across it in like 30 to 45 seconds. An acre is literally nothing. Like, it's nothing. There's nothing to an acre of land. It's pathetic. It fucking sucks. Which, yeah, definitely sucks. So, yeah. Let's see. Double pane, of course. Which makes sense. Vinyl. Class. Typical. Breakfast bar. How vain. Just reverse those two. Ceiling fans, granite counters, linen closet, open floor plan, pantries, shower tub combo, soaking tub. I see. Tile shower, vaulted ceilings, walk-in clays. 3200. Yep. Living room. It does say wood burning fireplace. But again, if that was true, why was it an electric fireplace? Electric / gas. Unless it's the one down the bottom? And I just missed it? I don't think I did. Oh, well, no. No, it's not a fireplace. I don't know what that is. Is that a mirror in front of that? It looks like it is. I don't know what the fuck that is. I think it's a mirror, though. Is that an old sewing machine, actually? That might be an old sewing machine. I don't know. Or a spooling machine? Oh, yep, here we go. Yep. I missed... I somehow managed to miss that. I guess I was too busy raving. Yeah, I was literally in this picture. I took like, what, like 2-3 minutes just raving about this place. Before I still didn't notice this giant fucking wood farm. Okay, so there is one. So that's good. The upstairs one, though, isn't that way. Actually, is there AC in this place? That's a good question. If there's no AC, that's a third thing you can nick on it, because there needs to be AC in these kind of places. None. There's no AC. Get some fucking... It's high desert, dude. Well, it's a borderline high desert. Please, for the love of dog. Misery. Get some frickin'... Oh, this is Lake of the Woods, actually. It's... Oh, whoops. Wait. Nuclear flaring is, oh, it's here. Oh, okay. My bad. It's on the junction, just before the junction between... We're gonna go to Lake of the Woods or to California, apparently. There's Ashton. What do we normally take? It's a good question. I don't really recall what we took. I think we must have taken this direction. God, how long ago was that? Grandpa Grog was still alive, so it was before 2000. I think. Was it? When did he die? I think he died... Maybe 99? Or 2000. I think he died in 1999. Anyway, like 98 or 99. Oh, was he still alive? Yeah, he was. So I guess the one time I've been to Lake of the Woods would have been late 90s. So it still could have been over here, but I think it was this way we took to get to Lake of the Woods. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think I remember that because I think I remember seeing this lake and this lake from the road. There was just enough of a zigzag, and there's a lot of sagebrush shortly before you actually got to the lake. I remember that. It was dry, and there was a lot of sagebrush. I'm willing to bet that was the case. I'm trying to think about where exactly we had, where he was. Oh, let's grab it. Yeah, I think he was in Ashland, yeah. So... No, he definitely was. Yeah. He was really close to Lafayette Park, actually, so... Maybe we did actually go this way, then. I don't know. $6.5 million for that. Really? One bedroom, one bath, 1,000 square feet. $6.5 million. How many acres? How many actual acres is this then? Doesn't look like that much. Like in the grand scheme, because 1 acre is nothing. This better have a fuckload of acreage for that nice little crick. 1,948 acres. Okay. Fair. Still don't think it's worth $6.5 million for 1,900 acres. But okay. That is still a lot for that much. My giggity gog. Shit. That is a lot. It's beautiful land. But that is spendy. Lordy. She's so spendy. Once upon a time, there was a property. I do a sink. I'm a skink. It was up in the hills. I'm pretty sure it was down this vicinity, somewhere within this area. I believe. Yeah, because that wasn't Immigrant Lake wasn't was not within view, nor was the border, so it's got to be literally within this vicinity. There was a property that I had saved like a year or two ago. I had seen perfect property for like a commune / a retreat / well, yeah, I guess it would be like a retreat place, kind of like they have down, say, Byron Bay, Australia, South Australia, where it's like they host tons of meditation retreats, health retreats, what is it? Yoga retreats, things like that. Like, it would be perfect for all sorts of different, more spiritualistic and back to earth kind of retreats, basically. So have it like a retreat place. Perfect for that. Therefore, it was obviously great to live in too, but most specifically, hey, you want to live next to lakes that nearly completely dried up last year? Oh god. But yeah, this place. Holy shit. What do they even call this area? I don't know. This, you would think, have a name, because it's literally, it's the one spot within the forest that's just not part of the national forest. So You know there's a place named to that. You just know it. Odessa? Why not? Yes. Just land again. Yeah. Alright, well, anyway, let's take a look. Say I was randomly click on a place, but the problem with randomness is sometimes you instead end up right next to a bunch, or landing on a bunch of places that have basically 0 square foot space, which isn't great. Feck it. A terraced hill. That's not great if we got a lot of rain at some point. That's gonna erode pretty nastily, and then you're gonna have a muddy mess. So you definitely want to plant some actual proper native plant life on there, and trees and brush and all that. Or just let this stuff spread there. Because, yeah. That's not smart. Okay, let's 73 frickin' hell. 73 photos. Pahotos. It's an interesting design on this house. On these houses here. Very muddy. They have no filtration system on that. They just dug a pit and filled it with water. Not even rocks, it looks like, probably. That pond is a mockery of a mess. Heard it through the grapevine, did we? It does have solar panels on it. I'm assuming that's south because of where the solar panels are. Almost everywhere in Oregon is going to put their solar panels on the south. To the south. Welcome, friends. Well, actually, they're our closest related non-human cousins, but that's a different story. They're still delicious, though. 99.3% shared, actually I think it's 99.1%, shared genetics DNA with pigs. But my god, they're delicious. Especially in bacon. And real ham. Shank portion, please. Very delicious. I love eating our relatives, honestly. It's just delicious. Anyway. This is actually really nice, though. I do like this. It's a little too manicured for my taste, but I do like it. Yeah, I'm gonna have a hard time tolerating this. Like, this is... I'd have to change my perspective about it. Basically, instead of looking at... Actually, this is turf. You can tell this is rolled out, because that cut is a little too sharp. That's not natural or anything in nature. And look at how it arcs up, dog-eared. That's turf. Anyway, or, rolled out grass. They didn't actually just grow it. So it's more manicured than I'd like it to be. And that proves it's more manicured than I originally anticipated it was too. Speaking of clear cuts, holy motherfuck. Look at all the clear cuts. That's not burn from wildfires. That's clear cuts. Scars and scars everywhere. That's not something you'd want to see or hear from across the ravine. Certainly something you wouldn't want to see at all. I would have a hard time living somewhere where I have to watch them clear cut. It does look like the land is a bit scorched in places, but I don't think it's actually burned. Nevertheless, like, if I had to change my perspective, it would be basically like, I'd have to look at it like this is almost like a waypoint / vista point. So somewhere you'd pull over to view from a vista, right? To get, well, yeah, viewpoint. That's what I'd have to look at it as. Because this, if I just imagine I'm going through here, almost like I'm in a car, I'm pulling up to a vista point, and I'm going here. So this is like a park, not a lawn, a park. That's how I'd have to look at it, and then I think I'd be okay with it for the most part. It wouldn't bug me as much anymore. There's two different patches of grass that were laid out here. that are severed from this one, and each other. Somebody fucked up. They're a little picky with their turfing. Like, oh, that doesn't look right. But then they left the doggy over here. Sure. This would be a really convenient place to make sure a kid's standing directly in front of you and then you accidentally knock them down the hill by sneezing. Oh, sorry. I sneezed. That wasn't intentional. I didn't mean to do that. On the bright side, there's a lot less money we're spending every year in medical expenses. Don't kill me. Listen, I did the right thing. Nobody liked him anyway. Make a great parent. Yeah, this is a lot of freaking photos. This, though, like, yeah, okay, it's visually interesting. Still wasted space. And really a pain in the ass to clean. I have long enough arms, if it had a reach thing, I could clean even back into these, although that looks like that stops, and then as it's going down to the other wall, you have to reach back and around. You have to do a reach around, Some people like that. Last time I checked, walls don't have feelings, so they wouldn't necessarily like it. Either way, shit joke, the point is, but you get cobwebs everywhere, sticky dust, because who's going to think to clean that? You'd have to hire somebody to either live there to do cleaning of that sort, or you'd have to hire them to come in, hopefully they live relatively close by, so they can do it within a day, or hire multiple, I guess. Or you help them with it, I guess, too. Like, because the bigger a house is, and the more you have, like, this vault thing going on, and these kind of beams, you know how much dust is up there that nobody's cleaning? Oh my god. Like, this is the problem with bigger places and houses, and it's also the bigger problem with vault ceilings, and beams like this, is you have to clean that consistently too, just like the rest of your surfaces in your house. And if it's big enough, you ain't gonna be doing it, and you're gonna want more than one person, so you're probably gonna have to hire somebody to come out to clean it, or more likely a maintenance team to come out and maintain and clean your place periodically. At least do dusting services and stuff. Like, that's just logistics. Like, you would have to do that. Especially if you care for your place enough that you want to maintain cleanliness of this stuff without getting, like, that sticky, thick dust because you never clean, collecting. But otherwise, it's kind of nice. Like, I do like it. It is cool. It's unique. It gives it a nice little feel. But other than that, though. Also, this is solid wood, this beam. I know what I'm doing if I would ever make a house like that with mine. I'm putting a legit, real NBA quality and level basketball hoop on that fucker, and I'm playing basketball in my house. That's what's happening. That's turning into a lounge/basketball room. Yeah. Sectional now. Ugh. Oversized sectionals are not fun. All that furniture. But I guess if it's that big, you're probably anticipating holding a bunch of people, or you're hosting a bunch of people in there. I see, it's a lot more art than I thought it was, and it's not as long as I thought it was. That might make it a bit weirder, but okay. It would still probably work. It's not central, though, which sucks. Put it up here, I guess, but you, again, have to make sure there's a really thick, solid beam in there. That's the cool thing with, like, cabins, is that it's full fucking logs. Usually hardwood. So, like, you have nothing to worry about, even if you put the most heavy force and weight on that rim, on that basket that's bolted into it. It wouldn't probably hurt anything. So, that is kind of a fun fact about those kind of places. If you have a beam like that, made of log, it's like made of tree. It's really awesome. Hey, an aquarium. And a burb. Imagine the bird song and the bubbling sounds together. That would actually be a great combination, man. Be very relaxing. A lot of maintenance, though. A lot of extra maintenance. It looks like the place is at least made to look like it's made out of stone. So I guess semi-pseudo-Spanish style, but also not quite, so adobe. But if it's actual stone, that's a boon. Just like the cabins, because it's going to last forever. Like, that shit's not going to break easily. That is wood, obviously, plastered over, but yeah. I don't think it is legit stone at all, though. In fact, there's the gap there, so I think that's proof it's not. But it'd be cool if it was. See, that's not stone, obviously. But it'd be great if it was, because then it would be, you know, it would be really, the integrity would be incredible for the longest time. And again, like, you could bolt a basketball hoop in there, genuine heavy-duty basketball hoop, and rip on it all you want, and it's not going to do anything. But you can tell from this, I'm pretty sure with that kind of arcing, especially at the base and the top, that's definitely not anything but plaster and wood, probably. Particle board or something, which sucks. So, that's not genuine stone, I don't think, at all. It still could be, but I highly doubt it. You can't really cut stone quite like that, unless you're spending way too much money on the stone. It's nice. Nice-ass cabinetry. I think that's real wood. Sure as it looks like it. Like a gas fireplace, like almost everybody has these days. I still like the conventional coil. They're easily replaceable and fixable too. Like, if you have an issue, you just go tweak something. If it's a temperature gauge issue or something, or a switch issue, maybe replace that. Or, which is easy to replace, or you just replace the coils. Because maybe the burner goes out, or it has an issue, or dies or something, or shorts. It's like, cool. Easy to clean. All that stuff, so like, I do prefer those. The gas ones I'm actually just kind of scared of. I don't think I do well with gas stovetops. I'm definitely willing to learn, but I do not do good without spilling things, and that on a flame is probably not the greatest thing. So, yeah, about that. This is definitely an animal person. They have stuff for cats or a small dog. I think it's cats. Got those. The Burb. Le Fisc. Yep, definitely got those. That's it. Good people. Place the Burb with a rodent, and you got the trifecta. Yeah. It's a very nice place. It's very pretty. Bathrooms are a bit small. Don't like. Bedroom is a bit small. That's for sure. Yeah. If this is part of the bedroom, why is there this here? Is that to the bathroom? Maybe. If it is, that makes a little more sense. That's okay, because that's your own bathroom. But if that's actually to outside of the bedroom itself, why would you do that? Like, it's supposed to be a place where you get your privacy and stuff, right? That's why it's a bedroom. It's your room. It's your space. If that is a cattail, that is the scraggliest, rattiest tail I've ever seen on a cat. Does your cat have mange? I don't think it is a cattail, though. It's probably like a tip of a feather duster or something, or a toy for a cat. But yeah, like, if that's not to the bathroom, then what the flying fuck is wrong with you people? Like, why would you have that there? Because if that's going to just outside the bedroom into the general house, that ain't cool. Bruh. Cute puppers. That is a cute puppers. Look at the face. Look at your face, it's so cute. Doesn't look very happy. It's a cute pupper there, too. Cuter when he's like that than like this. Unless that really is a different dog. love their animals, man. Love their dogs, love their cats, love their fish, love their birds. Still missing the rodents, though. For shame. I see. Okay. Interesting. Interesting choice. There's a little green room. Sweet! That's really nice, especially for winter, man. That's perfect for winter. Bro. You can grow tomatoes all year round. You can grow a bunch of other stuff all year round. Did you know that tomatoes are actually not just one-year plants? In their natural environment, I believe South America, they grow year-round. They're multi-year living plants. And they keep reproducing. They're not like some temporary plant that you throw away later because they die, like they do in North America. That's something that a lot of people don't know. So like if you have the right conditions in your greenhouse, you can have them for years and years, your tomato plants, to keep reproducing for you year-round. Which is awesome. It's not really a proper greenhouse. That's why I called it a green room. It's probably heated because specifically for this kind of stuff, propagation and all that, has just enough, you know, light, right? It's perfect. I do not like the manicuring, though. Again, look at all the cuts. Like, that is not natural. That actually doesn't even look like grass. That is genuinely, I think, turf. And not actual grass, which is disgusting. I would tear that out immediately. And I would not replace it with grass. I'd probably replace it with some native plants. And or a garden of actual food. Is what I would do. It's way more logical, way more beneficial. But yeah. There's the pond. Muddy ass motherfucker. Also, in the summer, this thing is going to be death. Because you're going to have so many mosquitoes. Having a pond like this is a mosquito producer. Because mosquitoes breed and love and thrive over and in and on still water. They love stagnant water like this. That's why you gotta have constant water movement, and a good amount of it, or else you're gonna be a mosquito breeding ground. You're gonna be the epicenter. And if you do not like mosquitoes and you're a mosquito magnet like myself, this is a death sentence for your nerves. Like, it is the worst possible thing you can do for yourself. And also, this is not okay. Like, yeah, there's a little bit of like grasses. You need a lot more plant life here. You really do. You need a lot more plant life on hills like that, especially when they're artificial like this, or at least dug out. And you also need a lot more on these hills, because plants are what fucking holds dirt and hills together. You don't have enough, they will erode with enough moisture. It's an inevitability. So that's a major negative on this property. Whoever did that was not being smart. At all. I do like what they were going for, though. Aesthetics. Actually, that roof needs to be replaced. There's too much moss on it. That roof is probably gone or going here pretty quick. I like the property a lot. For sure. Trump 2020. That's about right, yep. I guess it was eventually going to happen. I didn't think about that because you're in Southern Oregon. But yeah. I do like that property, though. But there's, I would say, as many, or maybe like one or two more negatives, I would say, than positives to this property. But overall, it's nice. And I love its location. It's in a very pretty place. It's just isolated enough from everyone else. It's still in relative accessibility to a lot of other places. But, overall, I'm not about it. I already safe to say I'm not about it, man. I really not. It's nice. Definitely not for me, though. I don't think. I could definitely make do with it. Like if I moved into that place anyway, I wouldn't complain about living in it. I would definitely find a way to really enjoy it, but It's just like, especially for that price, like, I don't think if I had infinite amount of money, I don't think it would be quite worth it necessarily to move there or live there. I could find a lot better place, or else I could build a place for as much, maybe a little cheaper or maybe a little more expensive, and it'd be a true dream property and house. You know? Like, it's absolutely true. So you know how... So, like, you know how I have this obsession, unreasonable obsession with the gulags of the USSR. It's to the gulags with you. Kermit Peterson. Yes. It's not a bad property. Like, I could see a load of people really liking that and being like, I want that property. I wouldn't blame you. But I just feel like it wouldn't be worth my money if I had it. It's always the key. If I had it. But yeah. Oder vi see. And den falls. Otherwise, it is not bad. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. 3-bedroom, 5-bath. 4,789 square feet. Crops. That's actually pretty nice. That could be interesting, but yeah. Something my mom's always been annoyed by is places that do not have more bathrooms than bedrooms. Or at least equal bathrooms and bedrooms. Full baths, full bedrooms. Can't exactly blame her. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's going to end the stream for today, because I went on longer than I anticipated, longer than I figured. Because I ended up looking at that last property, which I was anticipating on doing, and I think there's another property I was hunting down, looking at, too. There, I don't even remember anymore. Anyway, there you go! One thing I will say, though, that I've noticed, is that in Oregon, prices are woefully erratic. Like, they are all over the place, including, like, next door to each other. This is one of the areas, is the Coos Bay, North Bend area. Go figure. There is, like, housing prices everywhere over the board, but especially in Coos Bay area itself. Like, look at this. Boom. This property is actually fucking nice. I really liked it. Unless this is actually a different property, which now that I'm looking at it, I think it is. Yeah, no, this is actually different than I thought it was. There was a property, like, right next door to this. I guess it's already bought. Interesting. I swear that was the one, but I guess not. But yeah, so, like, or maybe it's this one I was thinking of. No, I don't think so. I didn't look at this one either. I guess that other one's already gone. That was fast as fuck. But, like, there's one that was, I think, $495K. It was, like, right around this area. But no, this is the right price, but it's in the wrong house. That's weird. Anyway. Beautiful. I actually think it was right around here. But you had, like, a direct view of the bay itself as well. Everybody around here. 400 something K. And then this one is $1 million? Almost 2? I guess it looks like it has some land, though. That explains a little bit more. But it's about the same size house, same size, you know, yeah, same size house and everything. Yeah, it has property, that's why. Okay, that makes more sense. But it, like, has all the views and everything. It's still really close to the ocean and the bay and the beach, but super far apart. But, like, the price difference is absurd. But if you zoom right in, unless they're not here either, there was, I think it was over here. There was, yeah, it was over here. 445K. Like, what is that? 5 blocks? 5 blocks from 445K. 1.75 million. What? Like, yeah, okay, it's a lot bigger house, but what? You're like a few blocks away from each other. How can you be over $1.25 million more? And then just a few blocks away from that one is a 260K house. What? Okay, obviously that's bullshit. 275K for a 15-bedroom, 15-bath, 170. Call bullshit. 510K. So, like, wouldn't you think that's a little more worth it than that? They're not that different. But it's like, what? 8 I guess that's why. But, like, I mean, look at that. It's literally down the road from each other. What? That's a 400K difference. Like, but it's all over the state. There's just these, like, the price tags are literally everywhere. And it's like, but why? What the fuck? I gotta look at this one. Oh, not that one. Actually, no, I guess it was that one, wasn't it? Oh, no, it was this one, the 15-minute price increase of 273K. Oh, I was trying to sell for $2,000. This is a factory. I guess they're trying to get you to turn it into like an apartment complex? It's a warehouse / factory. They're trying to get you to turn it into an apartment complex, I guess. There's some stores on the bottom. It's shuttered, go figure. I guess that's why. Man, oh god. That was mold and shit all over the places. Basically, oh my god. Rodents and leaks and oh my. Shag carpet. Oh god. Tear it down, rebuild something else better and more valuable in the place that would be useful to people. That's what you do. Not one of these, though. Definitely not that. A resource center. A co-op. A park. There's a lot of fucking things that would be more useful than that. Just saying. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to end that here. So, thank you for watching, if you did, whether it's in the VOD or the live stream. Completely random. But it was spurred by that second house I showed. So, there you go. In Shady Cove. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, the general average home price in Oregon is clearly about 500 to 600K. It's rough. But hey, this looks about 500K, probably roughly. Yeah, roughly. Because, yeah, as soon as you get outside the main areas, pretty much, except Abyss, apparently Tualatin and Sherwood, everything's going for like 800K. What the fuck? I have issues! Anyway. Yeah, it's expensive, man. And like it was the 9th, or no, I think it was the 7th highest tax burden in the entire nation. That's every single tax collectively that you'll ever have to pay yearly in the States. That's what's known as overall tax burden, so all taxes. It's like the 7th highest in the nation or something like that. It's expensive as fuck to live here, unfortunately. And it's probably only going to get worse. Alright, stay safe out there. And I hope to see you, whatever the heck the next thing is. Goodbye.